Now we discuss signs and symptoms of polyneuropathy. In the early stages, the patient complains of pain, numbness, tingling, and paresthesia in the hands and feet. Right? The patient feels pain, numbness, tingling, and paresthesia in the hands and feet. Right? And the cramps like pain occur in the calf muscles and mostly occurs in the night. Right? Next feature is the weakness of the muscle or paralysis of the muscle occurs more in the lower limb than in the upper limb. Right? The lower limbs will be affected more than the upper limb. Right? So muscle becomes very weak and may cause paralysis. Right? So patient develops ataxia and is unable to walk on a rough or uneven surface. Right? Another feature is in the upper limb, the patient faces problem in doing the fine work, mostly break the object because of improper grasp. Right? So patient feels difficulty in doing some fine work like writing, needling, right? Handling of objects or utensils, and the hand grips reduces. Right? Next thing is in severe cases, the wrist drop and the foot drop may be present. Right? Next point is the contracture also develops in the joints in case of polyneuropathy. The gait of the patient is generally high step gait because of weakness of dorsiflexors. Right? So weakness is most marked in the peripheral segments. Here, so during the active movement or if the patient can move his limbs, ataxia can usually be demonstrated. Right? So there may be pain, tingling, numbness, paresthesia, muscle weakness, cramps in calf muscles, right? And the foot drop, wrist drop may occur, contractures may occur, the high stepping gait is a common presentation. Clear? Next is the postural sensibility and appreciation of passive movements are impaired in the fingers and the toes. Right? Next one is vibration sense is also lost. Right? Next feature is by applying pressure upon the muscles, especially those of calf muscle, that is usually very painful. Right? Next feature is the tendon reflexes are diminished or lost. The ankle jerks disappears before the knee jerks. So the plantar reflexes may also be lost but present in flexors. Right? So reflexes may be diminished in case of polyneuropathy. And some changes occur in the skin of the extremities. The skin often become edematous, red, and shiny. Right? And sometimes there is increase in sweating. Right? So these are the presentation of polyneuropathy, signs and symptoms of polyneuropathy. We can add few more like muscular contractures, fibrous adhesions may occur in the tendon sheaths and around the joints. Right? So muscular contractures are a common presentation in polyneuropathy. And the muscles supplied by the cranial nerves may also be infected. because some of the cranial nerves can be affected in certain neuropathies, right? Sometimes there may be involvement of the heart leading to development of cardiac arrhythmia. The heart may be also involved. So if the neuropathy develop due to some toxic chemicals, then they may produce some other effect in addition to all the above, right? So painless ulcers on the digits or Charcot's joints may develop when the sensory loss is profound. The autonomic nervous system may be additionally involved, leading to nocturnal diarrhea, urinary and facial incontinence, impotency, or postural hypotension. So all these are the clinical features of polyneuropathy, right? Now we discuss diagnosis of polyneuropathy. So usually the diagnosis of polyneuropathy is easy, having a typical characteristic features like symmetrical and peripheral distribution of muscle weakness and muscle wasting, right? So symmetrical involvement of the muscles is a typical characteristic of polyneuropathy. The other one is pain and tenderness. Next one is sensory impairment, right? So occasionally the symptoms of a tumor of cauda equina may stimulate polyneuritis to a diagnosis which should be accepted with reserve when the symptoms are confined to the lower limbs, right? So symmetrical involvement, muscle weakness, pain, contractures, sensory impairments, these are typical signs of polyneuropathy. So the association of pain, ataxia, loss of tendon reflexes in the lower limbs is seen to be like tabes dorsalis. In polyneuropathy, however, the calf muscles are tender on pressure, whereas in tabes they're not. Right? So we can differentiate polyneuropathy by these clinical features. Right? Next thing is some biochemical tests are done by which we can detect the things which leads to development of polyneuropathy, like some toxic substances or deficiency of some elements like vitamin B12, like that, or some other metabolic causes, right? Next one is complete blood picture, that is known as CBP, complete blood picture, right? May show tripled RBCs of lead poisoning, right? If the patient is having lead poisoning, RBCs will be tripled, right? They settle down. Next one is abnormal liver function test. Alkaline phosphatase may suggest an underlying malignancy. Next is blood creatinine may suggest renal failure. Glucose levels may suggest diabetes mellitus. Urine should be checked for porphyrinogens, porphobilinogens, and heavy metals. Right? So urine should be checked. Next is abnormal serum protein. Electrophoresis may support a diagnosis of neuropathy. associated with multiple myeloma or monoclonal gammopathy and help diagnose demyelinating neuropathy. Right. Next is palpation. Palpation of peripheral nerve is also an investigation. Right. So nerves are usually palpable, thickened, and progressive hypertrophic polyneuritis. A common example is leprosy. This you can check the peripheral nerves. You can get the thickened nerves, right? Like ulnar nerve. Common example is ulnar nerve, thickened ulnar nerve. In case of leprosy, right? You can check here on the medial side, medial epicondyle, just behind the medial epicondyle. You can check the ulnar nerve, right? Next is one of the important investigation is the nerve biopsy, which definitely confirm the diagnosis, right? Nerve biopsy we can suggest. Next is a latest technique is also used to detect that the disease is related to a nerve, that is neuropathy, or the disease related to the muscles, myopathy, or it is the disease of the neuromuscular junction, and that technique is known as electromyography, by which a graph is taken, and that is known as the electromyograph, right? With the help of this, we can detect the condition, right? So EMG is very important. We all know about EMG, no? Electromyography. In EMG, we have three phases. One is input phase, other one is processor phase, and the other one is output phase, right? So in input phase, we use electrodes over the muscles. We receives and records the signals from the muscles. This comes in input phase, right? In processor phase, we multiply or we amplify the signals by using amplifiers, or we can also use differential amplifier to avoid unwanted noises, right? And in output phase, the electrical signals are changed into the audible signals or visual signals. We can change these signals into the audible signals or visual signals. These signals will be displayed on computer or CRO. The audible signals we can get from tape recorder or loudspeaker, all these, right? So this is EMG, and we can get a graph on the computer screen. This graph is known as electromyograph, right? In short, I have explained to you what is EMG, right? Next is the type of pathology occurring in the nerve is also calculated by the test that is known as NCVT, that is nerve conduction velocity test. In this, the conduction velocity of the nerve is measured, right? Basically, these two tests, EMG and the nerve conduction velocity test, helps to confirm neuropathy, and the it determine which nerves are involved, which type of fiber, sensory or motor is predominantly affected, right? And whether the pathology is axonal or demyelinating, right? So in demyelinating lesions, slow nerve conduction and prolonged distal latencies and waves, focal demyelinating blocks may be documented, right? So for investigation, we can use EMG as well as NCVT, right? Now we discuss the general management of polyneuropathy patients. This is the general management of polyneuropathy patients. So the management of polyneuropathic patient differs according to the condition. For example, like in GB syndrome, patient may be treated with ICU treatment, right? And on the other hand, if there is a diabetic polyneuropathy, the patient may be treated normally as outpatient. So it depends on condition, right? Point is, usually chest care is important because the patient gets the respiratory problems. So they need complete assessment of the lung functions and vital capacity. So and if the patient is on ventilator, a small operation that is known as tracheostomy is done, in which afterwards cuffed tracheal tube is inserted. Right? So tracheostomy is done only when the initial response to the ventilation therapy is slow, or if the patient is in coma or unconscious for a long time. Right? So if the patient is in coma or unconscious for a long time, we can go for tracheostomy, right? So this is very important to prevent lung infection. So regular suctioning is done to clear secretions, right? Next thing is a patient may be given IPPV, that is intermittent positive pressure ventilator, right? Next point of management is the patient requires the care of bladder, pressure points, that is area of body on which the pressure is more. The skin texture, color monitoring is also very important to prevent pressure sores, right? So skin care, joint care is very important. In some patients who had the complaints of decreased blood pressure, and that is hypotension, some drugs are given to maintain blood pressure. Next is the patient often complains of pain, and so the requirement of the analgesic is also there. Besides this analgesic treatment, we give head cradles. By this, the pressure of the blankets are relieved, so the pain does not occur. Right? Next management is we can prevent contractures by correct positioning of the leg. For this, we can use splints or we can use pillows. Right? Next one is the patient who is not severely affected, and if he has the signs of cardiac involvement, they need complete bed rest. Right? Next point is if case of polyneuropathy is the deficiency of nutrition, especially vitamin B, then the supplement this in the diet. Right? Next management is if the cause is absorption of the toxic substance, then chelating agents are given which can join the toxic substance and afterwards comes out of the body. Right? So we give chelating agents to the patients. Those are affected with toxic substances. Right? And if we remove the causes of polyneuropathy, then the condition of the patient starts improving. So pain present in the polyneuropathy is managed by the therapist with the help of modalities or some techniques, manual techniques we can use. In some cases, surgery is also done, that is laminectomy, and electrodes are placed by which we stimulate dorsal column, right? So this is the common management of polyneuropathy, right? Next thing is we can categorize polyneuropathy in different sections. Like one is lead polyneuropathy, another one is alcoholic polyneuropathy, next one is diabetic polyneuropathy, next is carcinomatous neuropathy, next is hereditary neuropathies, next is diphtherial polyneuropathy, next is Guillain-Barré syndrome. So we can categorize polyneuropathy in these 7 sections, right? And it depends on the causes, like lead polyneuropathy, alcoholic polyneuropathy, diabetic polyneuropathy, like that, right? So first we discuss lead polyneuropathy. What is lead polyneuropathy? So there are heavy metals which can cause the neuropathy, in which lead poisoning is very common. Right? Lead is basically used in the industrial area, industries, different industries. We use lead. So lead poisoning is very common in the people who lives nearby the industries. So lead neuropathy occurs usually lead factory workers such as plumbers, painters, and also found in the children who are living near the highways or main road or the industrial area where the pollution is very high, right? This is lead neuropathy. What are the signs and symptoms of lead neuropathy? One is motor fibers of the radial nerve, which supplies the extensors of the wrist and the fingers, are commonly affected, causing bilaterally wrist and finger drop. Right. Next is an upper arm type paralysis involves the deltoid, biceps, brachialis, brachioidalis muscles. Right. The upper limb may be involved. Next is involvement of lower limb is rare, but sometimes the common cranial nerve may be involved. Right. Next important point is there is no sensory loss. Right. Only the motor nerves will be affected. And there is also the presence of signs, also like pain, aesthesia, muscle weakness, tenderness, and atrophy. Right. Next is pathology. A progressive deterioration of anterior horn cells of the spinal cord, causing progressive muscular atrophy, occasionally occur, and sometimes degeneration of the corticospinal tracts also occurs. So, firstly, there occurs the changes in myelin sheath, which is followed by the Wallerian degeneration in the nerve fibers. Right. Next one is management, medical management, and this the chelating agents are given by which the metals are attached and then get removed from the body. Right. For this, we use chelating agents. The physiotherapy management depends on the disease and its symptoms. Right. So this is lead neuropathy. Main cause is lead. Next one is alcoholic polyneuropathy. Alcoholic polyneuropathy. Polyneuropathy may occur in the persons who are chronic alcoholics, but this relationship is not so clear, right? So it has been thought to be a form of beriberi, the deficiency of vitamin B1 and urine occur because of impairment of their absorption. So alcoholic polyneuropathy may result from consumption of sprit or wine over long periods. Most patients are middle-aged and males are affected more than the females. Right? So the clinical features are same as the general neuropathic symptoms in which pain and tenderness of the muscle are usually prominent symptoms. Right? And the additional symptoms include gastritis and the liver is often enlarged in case of alcoholic polyneuropathy. Right? Next is treatment of polyneuropathy in general combined with that of alcohol addiction, aim being the gradual withdrawal of alcohol. Right? When we withdraw the alcohol, the patient recovers. Right? Next is the parenteral injection of vitamin B should be given. Next is fully balanced diet should be given to the patient. Right? So this is alcoholic polyneuropathy. Main cause is alcohol. Right? Next is carcinomatous neuropathy. A neuropathy occasionally occurs in association with a carcinoma of the lung, stomach, or ovary, and therefore occur with carcinoma outside the nervous system. It may also affect the nervous system. The neuropathy may be primarily motor, sensory, and motor or purely sensory in this type. So the relationship of neuropathy with the carcinoma is complicated, right? So neuropathy sometimes precedes with the first symptom of the carcinoma. Occasionally by more than a year, often the neuropathy progresses with the growth of carcinoma and end after the removal of the tumor, right? So after removal of tumor, the patient recovers. So this is carcinomatous polyneuropathy, right? Next one is diabetic polyneuropathy. When there's polyneuropathy, diabetes is the main cause. So polyneuropathy in the diabetic patient develops after a few years and it is the complication of diabetes, right? So in this, diabetes is the main cause. So the commonest form is a mild chronic symmetrical motor and sensory neuropathy affecting particularly the lower extremities, right? And the clinical features are of sensory disturbance which may be associated with atrophic lesions of the skin and the joints. All these symptoms may lead to ataxic gait, right? So the symptoms looks as of tabes dorsalis, but it can be differentiated by the investigation of blood sugar, right? in the form of neuropathy, recovers partially with control of diabetes, right? So as the an autonomic neuropathy occurs in diabetes and may lead to impotency or disturbances of bowel control, right? Next point is occasionally wasting may be restricted to the proximal leg muscles, so-called diabetic amyotrophy, with proximal leg pain and loss of tendon reflexes. Right. Next is the electrophysiological studies have shown slow conduction in the nerves supplying the wasted muscles in such patients. Right. Next is the other form of neuropathy occurs in the older patients where they are affected by diabetes or not. The common reason which is affected is the nerve supplying the pelvis and muscles of upper portion of the leg. Right? This is diabetic polyneuropathy. Now we discuss signs and symptoms of diabetic polyneuropathy. Right? So patient complains of pain in the lumbar or hip region, which gets increased at night. There are atrophy and muscle weakness. There is no or mild sensation loss, right? Urinary incontinence occurs. These are the symptoms of diabetic polyneuropathy, right? Pain, atrophy, muscle weakness, right? Sensory loss may be there, and urinary incontinence, right? Now we discuss medical management. How we can control the diabetic polyneuropathy. But first, we have to control the diabetes, prevent this disease, control the diabetes, increase the vitamin in diet, and pain management by the medicine and physiotherapy. Right? In physiotherapy management, we can maintain the joint range motion of the joints. We can help the patients to do his ideal activities of daily living. We teach the patient to use aids correctly, which are given to him. And if sensory loss is there, they ask the patient to see his skin or joint and tell him how to avoid any injury. Right? Next is improve the coordination and balance of the patient. Right? And maintain or increase muscle power or muscle strength. Right? This is the management of diabetic polyneuropathy. Right? So this is for today. If you want to ask anything, you can ask. कुछ पूछना चाहते हैं पूछ सकते हैं.